we've got here is failure to communicate. Some people you just can't reach, and I don't like it any more than you.
With all the information at our fingertips, how can we, the people, become more knowledgeable and then accountable? We must step out of the information age and into the accountability age. Welcome to the Great Internet Debates Hot Topic Hot Potato. Tonight we're coming at you live today. This is April 7th, 2021. I had to check my calendar. All right, let's get ready for the first hot potato. We're going to see the first hot take here. Let's see here what we're going to talk about. Okay, everybody grab your notepads and put on your oven mitts and get ready. But first, some old business. March Madness is over, and we have new champs. The Stanford Cardinals defeated the Arizona Wildcats Sunday night, 54-53 in the women's NCAA Finals, securing their third ever championship title. Baylor Bears defeated the Gonzaga Bulldogs to win the first men's NCAA championship for Baylor. Now, last week's show was fire. It was everything that we discussed was awesome. We talked about George Floyd's redemption trial that's still going on. We talked about police reform. What should that look like? We talked about gun reform, what the holdup is. And if you have not watched that, please go back and watch that on our social media pages. TheGreatInternetDebate.com is a website, and then you can find our links on the bottom to subscribe to our YouTube pages, Twitch TV, and or Facebook watch and live. This week we're going to discuss the hidden billion found to now help enhance the current healthcare reform as we speak. It is about time we got our Affordable Care Act together. Was that a burn or a burn? You know, like that discovery of that money, you know, isn't it Bernie Sanders the new budget chair? Okay, out with old policies and in with the new policies. So many Trump era policies are being swept away right now to become more humane. And of course, we will discuss the current corona concerns, and the George Floyd redemption trial continues to test our common sense as a society. Okay, so live entertainment of the masses, the innovation from the Final Four to the Super Bowl to the NBA bubbles, and this weekend we have a big sporting event. We have WrestleMania. How many wrestling fans are in the house? Any wrestlers? You guys frozen? Okay. So we'll let that go. All right. My internet is unstable. All right. So I was going to ask you. All right. So, Anthony, I know we had the NBA or the finals here. Do you have anything to say about anything that just happened over the weekend with the NCAA? Did your pick win?
Yeah, my pick won. NCAA women's game was fantastic. You hated to see Houston lose because those women were not supposed to even make the tournament, and they made it all the way to the final. So that was fantastic to see. The Baylor team just beat the hell out of Gonzaga. It looked like professionals against amateurs. Gonzaga held strong, but they just were overwhelmed. They looked tired. They looked exhausted. It was a lot of fun to watch. Too bad the women professionals aren't as exciting as the college women. So I regretted that. That's all I got.
Interesting. Stevie P, you got anything to say about that?
Well, I'll tell you, I like sports. That's pretty much why I have a television, that and Jerry Springer. But it's, the semifinals for Gonzaga against UCLA was definitely a great game. And like I said, they left it all out there, and they didn't have anything when it came to Baylor. Baylor, they really wanted it pretty badly, and it showed. Gonzaga definitely is no pushover, and you can say, well, they had a weak schedule as far as who they play in their conference, but any team that goes undefeated, I mean, they had a great season. They shouldn't hang their heads for what they did. They got beat by a great team, and Stanford bringing it home to the Bay Area. I think that is great. And I know last week we all picked Gonzaga. Am I right? Did we all pick Gonzaga to win? So we all.
Everybody picked Gonzaga. They were on the bandwagon.
Yeah, we won, and we all got thrown off. But it was great to see, and I can't wait for football season to start.
Nice. And then Marvin, did you watch any of that? Do you have anything to say?
No, I'm not a spectator. I'm a participator. I think the spectators, you're paying all these people millions of dollars just to play a game. I would sooner play the game than watch it.
So before we move past the basketball deal, I saw this also today on the internet, and I posted this. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it was a comparison between Sue Bird and LeBron James, 17 seasons, NBA, the same stats almost, except the income. And so to kind of bring people in from my Facebook page here, I'm going to go ahead and say what some of these people said and see what that sparks for you guys. So Bruce Gilston said, I would rather watch her jump around with the ball.
Sexist.
What? Yeah.
That was sexist.
Yeah, but, there's comedy for you. Kiki Garcia said that's because the stands are empty at the WNBA game, and I've never seen anybody wearing WNBA jerseys. And then there were some replies to that I didn't get. Jeff Rothel said it's never as simple as it seems. Andrew Kramer said the WNBA is still going on. Where's the commercials, and why isn't it playing on television? Is Sue Bird on any commercials? Where's the slam dunk competition? And then Jeff Rothel, it said it seems unfair, but a lot of it is based on the audience draw. I'll sometimes switch from men's contest to women's match, game in tennis, gymnastics, soccer, but in basketball, I find that the men's game more compelling as far as athleticism, grace, etc. Women's basketball has progressed by leaps and bounds and rants in recent decades. If you watch the Stanford-Arizona Women's NCAA Championship the other night, you saw the game that's competitive, exciting, gripping, but was also sloppy. And then Nathan James said, weird, men like watching men more. Okay. And then Anthony said they did not produce, Anthony Torino said they did not produce the revenue necessary for more money. Same reason men's bowling, ping pong, and cornhole players don't make big money. 52% of the population are women. You think that they could get more women, could draw more women. Angela Larson said it starts in the middle school and it keeps going. Girls' sports teams don't get the recognition or funding. I have seen it firsthand with Liana playing basketball and lacrosse. Less money for uniforms, less attention in the morning announcements, no condensation for girls' events, unless a boys' game is going on too. Just a few examples. Justin Saldana said, pay based on performance. Men drive more sales, so they make more money. Gerald Da Vinci, this is a ridiculous argument. This isn't sexist. It's economics. Most NBA teams are billion-dollar businesses that generate millions in sales for season ticket holders, merch, and other endorsements and product contracts. With outside vendors, women in the NBA actually make a higher percentage per player than the NBA. The NBA collective amasses over $7 billion in revenue every year, whereas the NBA generates about $60 million. WNBA generates about $60 million. You do the math. Lola McGovern said, Christina McGovern said, it's based on an audience draw to an extent. How I would love to see the new sports report show even just 20% of the sports stories on women or in underrepresented sports. Let's start there. Believe me, I wrote in, but got no response. We need to demand it, give recognition for their achievements because they're happening, but very few know about it. Carl Macy, they are both effing overpaid. My dog chases balls. I like to see that money in the hands of the people who keep the fabric in our country together, not athletes or media people.
Right.
That was exciting. Yeah, I was glad to get those different responses from the people out there. Anthony, you got anything to respond to any of that?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the reality of the world. The WNBA was supported by the NBA initially, and I think they're still subsidized by the NBA. I lived in San Antonio for many years. We had a WNBA team. One of our stars, Becky Hammon, is now assistant coach with the San Antonio Spurs. She's in line to be a head coach shortly. The WNBA was very popular with lesbians. You would see them wearing the jerseys. The lesbian community, which I was part of, they went to the WNBA games because a lot of physical therapists are lesbians. So I would see that. I would see that, but that's a small population, and lesbians don't reproduce to raise kids to follow the WNBA, and it's an inferior product. I mean, they can't compare to the men. The men, there's no comparison. They have some good games, but I'll tell you what I think really hurt college women. UConn won 11 championships, I think, in the last 20 years. And that's usually good when you have a dynasty, but UConn was a dynasty that beat the shit out of people by 40, 50, and 60 points. So when you saw their games, there was no competition. So it sort of drove when it was trying to come up, because the WNBA in Houston, they won 3 championships. I believe they're called the Comets. When that was going on, there was some real follow. It started off and people were following them and it was really exciting. Then that team died off and the WNBA sort of disappeared. And I think UConn really hurt it with the complete domination they had over women's basketball for a few years. So it's sad. The other point is these women, like you said, Sue Bird made what, 22,000? These women go and play in Europe and make hundreds of thousands of dollars playing in Europe. The women's game is much more popular in Europe.
That's good to know. It's good to know. Stevie P, off to you, buddy.
I agree with a lot of things Anthony said. And when you talk about the money, though, the NBA, number one, has been around a lot longer. And they generate revenue all across the world. And China is the NBA's second biggest audience. And again, we caught a bunch of crap, obviously, for that. And some of it was their own self-doing. But, you know, I think women's sports are great. I like WNBA because, again, they play pure basketball. They play below the rim. So you talk about slam dunk contest, you don't see that in the WNBA. And, you know, they play more of a game like we played in high school. Everything was below the rim. And, you know, they're not as big, they're not as strong, they're not as physical, they're not as exciting in some ways if you like, you know, big, strong guys dunking and pushing each other around. But they do play a pure game. And Anthony's right. You know, you want to attract young girls to be excited to play the game. It attracts all kinds of people. And I don't know if they're all lesbians. I mean, I watch and I know I'm a lesbian. I like girls, and I'm proud of that. But you know, sports are for everyone. They're for little boys, little girls, big boys, and you know, we should find a way to support it. But I do believe Sue Bird, for all her championships, all the glory, and her magnificent talent, she's worth exactly what they're paying her. And if there's companies out there that want to pay her for endorsements, have at it. And obviously, she's not making the endorsements as LeBron James and some of the guys in the NBA for a reason. And maybe they're in female magazines that I don't read because they have clothes on. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, they're worth their salt. And I think they're all overpaid. But as far as what the women make, what I saw what Sue Bird made, I think she should be happy with that. I certainly would.
Very nice. So, show of hands. How many here are lesbians caught in man's bodies?
Definitely.
Very nice. Okay.
You know, on that subject, they had it the other night. They have a WNBA player that sits in on the panel with Shaq and the TNT crew, and Shaq made the mistake of suggesting something they suggested years ago, which was lower the basketball goal to 8 feet so that the women could dunk. And she lit his ass up. That WNBA player lit Shaq up for making that suggestion. And that's supposedly sexist to make that suggestion, but the truth is, I might watch a little more if it was at 8 feet and they could dunk. And I don't understand, with the population being 52%, how they don't market it better. Because there's young girls and women I think that would be interested. And you're right, that Houston team I was telling you about, I can still name 3 or 4 of those women on that team because they were in commercials. Cheryl Swoops had her own tennis shoes and was in a commercial with Michael Jordan because she was the MVP 3 years in a row and led that Houston team. So there was a time when it looked like this was going to take off, and then I don't know what killed it, but something killed it.
They're women.
That might be it.
Marvin, you have anything to say?
No, I think that that the women getting into the coaching of football and et cetera are going to start. We're going to have co-players. So we're going to have the teams are now going to be both male and female in the future. And I see within the next 10 years, there'll be females in the Men's Basketball Association and men in the Female Basketball Association, and the same in football. And then it'll be a national sport for everybody, not just men only. This
year they had a woman, they had a young girl kick for Vanderbilt football team.
Yes, right.
Yeah, right. And I don't know if y'all know this, in the 70s, Ann Meyer was the #1 female basketball player, and she actually went to camp with the NBA's Indiana Pacers, but she didn't make the team.
Well, you don't want these girls getting hurt either. And, the women tried to put like an indoor team together where they wore shoulder pads over their uniforms and hot pants, and it was supposed to draw men out, and it was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But with golf, they tried to blend men and women together, and it didn't work. The women, if you watch women's golf, their tees are shortened up, but they're great golfers without a doubt. But also, you see the way they're dressed, and now it's the Koreans coming over and dominating the Americans, and I don't think Americans really want to watch that. So it is what it is. And again, I don't want to see a 220-pound linebacker chase a 110-pound female running back and have to hurt her.
Now, the one sport that women outdraw men is tennis. And I think a lot of that has to do with Serena. Serena. And I'd rather watch a women's tennis match. The men are so overpowering. It's a serve and there's no rallies. Whereas the women, they're back and forth, which is beautiful. I watch women's tennis all the time. It's rare I'll sit and watch men because it isn't nearly as exciting. So women
on clay.
Yes, that's exactly.
And even with female sports and even men's sports, they try to have indoor like lacrosse or something. Right. San Jose had a team that lasted a couple of years. Again, you got big money behind it, and then they go belly up.
Yep.
So you have football, basketball, hockey, baseball. Those are always going to be around, and there is a place for women in all these sports. It's just the reality is they're not going to draw. They're not going to get the TV revenue, and they're not going to make the big dollars in the salaries.
Well, I want to get into Marvin. You have anything to say about this, or is that it? Because I know. So a big event's happening this weekend. I'm a wrestling fan. It's WrestleMania weekend, and what's interesting about it that I've noticed is, let's just say this: there's a triple threat match with Daniel Bryan, with the Yes Movement, versus the rated R superstar, which is Edge, who came back from a neck surgery, whatever, for a number of years, and then Roman Reigns, who's the head of the table. Now he is a Samoan, and he is Dwayne The Rock Johnson's relative. And has anybody in this room watched The Young Rock on television yet?
I watched a little bit of the first episode. Yeah.
Okay, so what I find fascinating about this is that The Young Rock is, the premise of the show is the old Rock being interviewed by some dude that's interviewing him over a series of interviews to get to know him, to get it out into the public who he is, because he's running for president of the United States in 2032. That's the premise. And so, what if he does run for president in the near future? Is he going to be in 2024? Is he going to be a surprise? Is this a campaign that he's getting paid to campaign on television, on network television, throughout this whole year of a season to campaign who he is? And then maybe next year the show get canned and he gets out on the campaign trail? I don't know. But it's interesting premise if he does decide to run for president in the near future.
I would love that. I don't know much I know his life story, but I don't know much about his political views. But I think he's one of the most charming human beings, and he's done everything. He's highly not as impressive as Arnold Schwarzenegger, who came from a different country. But my God, what he has done with his life is unbelievable. So he's a very impressive, charming person.
Yeah, and so they're embellishing that charm as who he was as a kid and as an adolescent and at Miami University and everything else. And it's just an interesting twist to watch this new trend, if you will, of campaigning, in my opinion. If that's
Ronald Reagan was an actor.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
right. Exactly. So it isn't a new thing that it feels funny, but Schwarzenegger was an actor. He became governor of California. Ronald Reagan was an actor. He became president of the United States. So it's not new. It's just odd. But it's odd when you think of someone like, Jesse Ventura was a wrestler who became governor, right? Which I think is one of the smartest, most honest men you'll ever meet. But he just comes across as nutty as shit when he's talking.
It was one of my favorites too back in the day. Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, if he was born here in the country, then he doesn't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I think he was born. I think he was born in the U.S. though.
Yeah,
I think he was.
Yeah, his parents. Oh, so my my fact checking team was concerned about him being born in Samoa versus here, and we're learning that he's probably born here in the States.
I mean, Obama got elected. Obama got elected. He was born in Kenya. So, joke.
It says it on his birth certificate too, doesn't it?
That's right.
All right. So, all right. Again, everybody, my name is Jay Cohen. I'm the Jayster, and this is the Great Internet Debates Hot Topic Hot Potato Roundtable discussion. Our mission here is to strive to create a safe place to hold civil and rational discourse about taboo views and viewpoints about hot topics of the times, and model this to others via our talk shows and game shows, and for the best interest of mankind. So let's see here. I also want to say at this time, I want to say thank you to our new sponsors. We have Jedi Lights and Sound. We also have, of course, my business, Jay Cohen Insurance Services. And then we also have Steve Protus's business, Get the Foolish Times. All right. And then if you notice on our display there, we have that going on. And then we have his new ad that was in the paper. Join us to be on the show, which is happening right now. So if you want to be on the show, There's information in the Foolish Times, and then don't forget our website, my website's everyone'scovered.com, but the show's website is thegreatinternetdebate.com. All right, now let's get into the next hot topic. Get your oven mitts on, everybody. All right, so Trump's hidden billions of dollars for the minions of Americans. What are your thoughts on a government that is night and day compared to the Trump administration? In your opinion, what would make a president want to sabotage his constituents, his citizens, as it has happened over the last 4 years? Do you guys have any thought about why a president would want to sabotage? Listen, I have this thing called Sabotage Watch. All right? And it's like, I don't know, 20 pages of stuff back to 2017, where shortly after he was inaugurated, he was doing what he had to cancel the Affordable Care Act. It's just amazing how much money, I mean, billions of dollars, the money that they were going to use for
Josh, we can hear you, and we can hear you typing.
They've
We
got
can
rid
hear
of that.
everything.
Josh, we can hear you. Okay, so and then there's other things going on. There's other reforms going on that have happened. But let's talk about the healthcare reform right now. Healthcare reform is happening right now. The American Rescue Plan 2021 federal stimulus package was signed by the president on March 11th to help rebuild the U.S. economy affected by the COVID-19 pandemic and the continuing recession. So what will the American Rescue Plan do for everybody? Well, the American Rescue Plan improves the affordable health care, the affordability of health care coverage by expanding the premium assistance for 2021 and 2022. So it increases the federal premium tax credits by limiting the consumer's required contribution to no more than 8.5%. So, which means consumers at any income level may be eligible for more financial help, regardless of their financial or their federal poverty level. This also means that no consumers will pay more than 8.5%. So that's pretty huge. That takes care of
8.5% of their income, Jay.
their income. Yeah, their income to pay for insurance, and that eliminates the cliff, the 400% poverty, federal poverty level cliff. Other things that are going on is they're also going to suspend the federal APTC reconciliation for tax year 2020. So this, for last year, while you're doing your taxes, for the tax year 2020, the American Rescue Plan suspends repayment of excess advanced premium tax credit owed to the IRS. Consumers would be eligible for additional APTC when they reconcile for the tax year 2020. And if they did not receive a maximum allowed APTC during the year. So check with your agent or check with your tax people to make sure you get all that done. And then there's other things going on too, other major changes going on. And this whole month, this whole week in California, if you're in California and in other parts of the country, I'm sure, because April 5th, they're going into the system, and April 12th, they're trying to get things done through Medi-Cal and everything else. So a lot of changes happening this month as a result of finding the money. And so if you have any questions, reach out to your insurance agent if you have one. And just know that good things are happening. These are the changes that should have taken place over the last 4 years, or some kind of positive change, because the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, was there to be altered and made better, not to be dismantled. And now they're actually doing something to make it better. So with all that said,
let me ask you a question. On the 8.5%, is that the income for the family, or is that each individual in the family?
it's for the family.
Okay. So a family making $50,000 a year could spend about 80. What is that? $4,750 a year. So it's going to cost them about $400 a month for insurance. Okay. That's why don't we just have Medicare for all? Why don't we have universal health care? Why do we have to go through this step-by-step shit when 33 of the 34 industrialized nations in the world already have health care? Why are we having to go through these steps?
Well, dismantling the current state of affairs and recreating is part of the reform. But I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Marvin. He's been in the business many years. Okay. He's got some insight. Go ahead and take it over, Marvin.
The other countries, those other countries you speak about, their taxes are pretty high to pay for medical care. And here in the United States, everybody's got a problem with taxes. And unfortunately, the Republicans came into power. And when George Bush came in, Bill Clinton left the surplus. When George Bush left office, we were $8 trillion in debt. When Trumpy left office, we were $30 trillion in debt. When Obama took over, the market just crashed right as soon as he took over. And this was all a rolling situation that was started by Bush. And Obama, he didn't know what to do, so he put everybody on unemployment for 99 weeks, almost 2 years. And he wasn't thinking to do what Biden is doing now and redoing the roads and bridges and schools. So he just gave everybody free money for 2 years. But he turned the economy around. When he left office, the economy was rolling. It takes a while to do that. When Trumpy took office, he says, "Oh, I got the economy going." Bullshit. It was already starting to go. And what happened under Trump? The economy went to almost to pieces. And he made America great again by putting people against each other. I mean, he won the election, and then he started talking about Clinton. Why do you talk about somebody you just beat? Just keep on going, make America great again. But unfortunately, he separated America. But the problem is that Americans will not pay the cost of Medicare for everyone, or Medi-Cal, because it costs a lot of money for health insurance. Now, if America did like they do in other countries and get people to take care of themselves, instead of Americans buying these motorized cycles for these big overweight people and putting them on social, social service and giving them free money and Section 8 housing and everything else, but making them go on a diet and start to and the same thing with all these other people on addictions, we wouldn't have the big problems that we have in America. But America has a lot of health problems, and they don't seem to want to do anything about it. I mean, AA started to help alcoholics, but there's more alcoholism going on today than there was when AA started. Just like Narcotics Anonymous. There's more narcotics going on today than there was when NA started. Food Addicts in Recovery deals with people with food problems. There's more overweight. They say 60% of America is obese. And nobody's doing anything about it, except we're paying for them to be obese. And then we're giving them free groceries for the last year. And you look at those people getting the free groceries, my God, they're twice the size of me. And you're getting free groceries. They didn't need any extra food. They had enough food inside of them to keep them going for a good 6 months. You know, I don't know if the Americans will ever want to pay about 20% of their income for health insurance for all. And that's what, when I lived in Germany, about 50% of the people's pay went to pay for medical care for all. And I don't know about the other countries, but Americans, after the Second World War and Korea and all that stuff, the income tax rate shot up like to 80%. Now we're at the lowest rate in history, in my history, and I'm 79 now. I don't remember being so low in my life. Not even when I was making 81 cents an hour. It wasn't this low. And it's a sad situation that we're having in America. But I really appreciate that Biden wants to resurface the roads, build, repair the bridges, and etc. And asking for $2 trillion to do that and create a couple million jobs, and at the same time increase the tax rate on people making over 400,000 and over and the tax rate for the corporations, because these corporation CEOs, they're making millions and millions of dollars a year. Why? They don't need that kind of money. It's a sad situation in America. They say life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Well, a lot of these people never get to that happiness place. They keep pursuing it, and they keep material. They want material things to make them happy. Material things don't make people happy. It's feeling good about yourself, and then you can offer yourself to your neighbors and help them feel good about themselves. And that's what makes people happy, not material things. Anyway, that's
very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you very much. That's my dad, everybody. Okay, Stevie P, how about over to you, buddy?
I agree with a lot of things you said, Marvin, and it really hit home what you said about happiness and offering yourself to your neighbors. And I did that recently, and now I have a temporary restraining order against me because she didn't want me.
That's the lesbian in you coming out.
So, when you talk about the trillions, again, it's really bloated. All that money is not going to infrastructure. And I would love to see an honest budget for that. Absolutely. And when we talk about, healthcare, most of the healthcare in this country is for people that are older. Younger people do not go to the doctor or need health services as much as older people. And when you talk about obesity and the groceries that people got for free, in those bags was a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables. And you're not going to get fat on that. If you walk the perimeter of a grocery store, that's where the good stuff is. When you start going down the aisles into all the packaged goods, that's where all the fat, that's where all your preservatives and crap is. Stay out of the aisles. And Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Mountain Dew. They're pushing lifestyle image commercials, and people are sucking it up. Oh, if I drink this, I'm going to be cooler. If I eat this, I'm going to be cool. If we just altered the way we do our food and educate people, we wouldn't have diabetes as rampant as it is. Obesity wouldn't be as rampant. If we got out of our cars and become less of a car culture, like I said, get on your bike, walk, do things, and get away from technology and your phone. All these things are things that we can go back and change. And but yeah, there's a lot of overweight people, and but we got to keep them out of the aisles, away from boxed food, out of the drive-through. And for some people, though, Marvin, it is hereditary. It's something that they can't help. And so I don't know what the percentages are, but again, we do have a problem in this country with the way we eat. And that is a big part of it. And we need to be healthy, and we need to, as we get old. I didn't know you were 79 years old. I would have never have thought you were 79 years old. You're very healthy, and I think that's wonderful. But then again, parts do wear out, and I hope with your son Jay, we got the extended warranty, so his parts don't wear out, and he can live to be 100 and look as good as you when he's 79 years old.
Yeah, that'd be great. We have to talk. We have to get some new contracts put together. Anthony.
Yes, sir.
Affordable Care Act. Get your Affordable Care Act together, buddy.
Okay, so remember when Michelle Obama tried to put vegetables in kids' lunches and fat-ass parents lost their shit? Remember that?
Yeah.
Ain't nobody changing shit. It's a bunch of fat, lazy pieces of shit in America, a bunch of cowards, fat asses. So I don't think we're ever going to change that, okay? I don't think that if we can't put vegetables in a fat kid's lunch without all hell breaking loose, we're never going to change adults. We're never going to change the system. So I'm gonna try to. I was in healthcare for years, so maybe some of this information will be new to y'all. The healthcare system is crooked. The healthcare system only makes money. The healthcare system only makes money if you're sick. There is no incentive to get you well.
Right.
Okay. I wrote a book on this. I gave various examples where doctors would give people surgery that didn't need surgery because they have bills to pay and profits to make. So it happens all the time. Half the people that get pacemakers do not need pacemakers. It's a quick and easy surgery that gets a couple of $1,000s. Back a decade ago, people were getting carpal tunnel releases left and right. 75% of people that got carpal tunnel releases did not have carpal tunnel. But it's a surgery that takes about 10 minutes and pays about $3,000. So it is a unbelievably crooked system. Doctors own, there were 73 rehab clinics in San Antonio. 72 were owned by doctors and me. I owned the one that wasn't owned by doctors. Doctors own the pharmacy, the diagnostic lab, the nursing home, the medical equipment. They own every single piece of the pie. That's why they send you down to their places. It is one of my best friends is an orthopedic surgeon. He actually helped write a chapter of the book. He now owns a surgery center. And he told me, I make so much money off doing the surgeries in my place, I don't even need them to pay me for the surgeries, the specific physician surgery. Where he does the surgery, I make so much money off just people using the facility. Okay, he now has a medical mall. Every single thing you need is in that mall, from therapy to medical equipment to pharmacy to diagnosis. He owns every step of the process. That shouldn't be allowed. If you're going to be a doctor, be a doctor. If you're going to be a therapist, be a therapist. We shouldn't have this interacting. Some of these doctors own from the moment you're born to the moment you die in a nursing home. They own every step of the way. Okay, so here's one of the things that I think people don't know, and you might be able to use this in your own life if you don't have insurance. If you can, everything has a code in medicine. If someone came to me and got exercise for therapy for 15 minutes, it's $35. Okay, $35 for 15 minutes of exercise. It's $50 on workers' comp. On Medicare, it's $35, and on Medicaid, it's $10. But if you go there without insurance, it's $200. It's whatever number they want to charge you. They can charge anything they want, knowing that it's going to be reduced to what workers' comp pays or what Medicare pays or what Medicaid pays. So my thing is, if we can get by with Medicaid at $10, why does somebody get to charge $35 on Medicare? Why does someone get to charge $50 on workers' comp? Why does someone get to pay? We should be able to work this down to one charge instead of having the 4 or 5 different charges, okay? So on occasions where I haven't had insurance and had to see a doctor, I get the bill. I always send a letter back and say, what does Medicaid reimburse for this? So a $5,000 bill ends up being reduced to $600. I say, right, I'll pay $600 or I'll sue you for discrimination because I don't have insurance. Every single time they take the $600.
You know what? I agree. And I also dabble in medical because we have a medical billing company. So we understand the modifiers and what you did. And we do work comp. So, you got to get the authorization. And Otherwise, everything, and they're denying it even with authorization to make it hard to be paid. Doctors, and I got to tell you, working with doctors, it's hard to get them paid. So if you're talking Medi-Cal, Medicare, you're talking commercial insurance, yeah, they all pay differently for a reason. And when you talk about cash, I think, like when I was growing up back in Pennsylvania, I had Blue Cross and Blue Shield. One covered my doctoral appointment, the other covered if I was stupid enough to go to the hospital. And now that I'm a little older, I'm thinking, I don't want cough and cold. I'll negotiate that. There's always a cash price. So I called a doctor and said, hey, I got the flu. I really just need you for the script. And they said, well, I got to see you. It's $150. And I said, well, what's your cash price? Some docs don't have one.
Right.
And again, I'll go right to the Medicare or Medi-Cal price, and that's what I'm willing to pay. There's always a doctor out there that will take your cash. When it comes to hospitals, we have a hospital CHOMP. And we look at our community, we just look at what they're doing, MOGA, which is what they call their urgent care. Well, it's basically triage to put you in the MOGA system or CHOMP. So it's talking about, Anthony, they own you.
That's right.
And we lost Monterey Bay Urgent Care. I was here for years and did a tremendous job for the community and for visitors. We lost that because they were old ER doctors for CHOMP, and they were getting long in the tooth. CHOMP came along with a check, some wanted to stay, most of them wanted to leave. And so they packed up their bags and closed. So now CHOMP is like running this county with not just that, but they also brought in an Advantage plan for Medicare. And it's a good plan.
Aspire.
Yeah, Aspire. It's a good plan, and they have great partners. But then again, what are the allowables for the doctor who has a high work comp bill? High bill for malpractice. He's got staff. He's got to keep his lights on. And so there's a lot of expenses. Your headphones, Anthony, you could buy those for $20. Right. But when you say they're medical headphones, and now they're $200.
Right. And I'm going to give you an example on the healthcare end. I made half of my revenue was profit. Half. There are very few businesses, and I would, Steve, you may know this, they authorize therapy for 8 weeks. My question was always, what if they only need 3 days? What if they only need 1 week? No one ever takes 3 days or 1 week. They always take, I average less than 4 weeks. And in a span of 7 years, I did $11 million. Half of that was profit. Had I followed the law, I'd have done 25 million. But I refused to do that. I was like, I'm going to give them what they need and get them the hell out of here because I'm selling results. That's what got me the business.
And the system isn't looking for results.
That's right.
They get you better. They're writing reports.
That's right. Nobody's looking for results. It's counterproductive. So let me say this. I wrote this down to make sure I get this. Here's what Americans don't understand is basic math. If your taxes have to go up $400 a month so that you have universal health care, and now you don't have to pay premiums of $700 a month, you just save fucking $300 a month. Okay, that's what they don't understand.
That's right. They don't understand that.
They don't understand the basic shit because here's what they really don't understand. The big picture is we're already paying for all this shit. Exactly how Marvin outlined earlier. We're already paying for these people on Medicaid out of our tax dollars. We're paying for their emergency room visits with our tax dollars, and we're paying for their fat ass on disability with our tax dollars.
Right.
Okay, so we're already footing the bill for universal health care. We're just footing it in the wrong directions. So if we actually took that money and put it towards prevention, what you're saying exactly right, and then towards universal health care, the studies I have read is the actual health care costs might go down.
Yeah.
Because we're paying for an emergency room visit at 20 times the price of a doctor's visit for those that don't have insurance. And we're paying all these people that are on Medicaid. All right. And then we pay disability. Everyone on this block has a disability check that I'm living on right now. Every person on this block is getting disability. Okay. Every one of them's been a crackhead and they're overweight.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think
you live in
Anniston, Alabama. That's the meth capital of the world. Okay. So, it is. So everybody's doing it.
Right there.
And everybody here smokes. See, so at some point as a society, we got to say, hey, if you're going to smoke and you're going to get addicted, when it comes time to get covered for Medicare or Medicaid, we're not going to do it. We're
Right.
going to let you die. And that's the last thing I want to say on this. We got to let old people die. That's the other expense. I've seen over the years, older people go into diabetic comas and be in it for a year or two. I've seen people reach a point where their body shuts down and the family doesn't let them go. And Terry Schiavo, anybody remember that case from years ago? She got a brain injury and she was in a coma for 17 years. I did the numbers on that. That cost us about $5 million. She is not going to wake up from that coma. And if she did, she couldn't walk around or do shit.
DNR, baby.
That's right. Unplug her ass and let her die. Okay. And we got to do that with older people. I have seen older people in nursing homes go on for years in a coma. They're not coming out of it. And if they do, they're going to be vegetative.
Mark,
Let
will you
them
listen?
go. Right.
Scary. And you know, we're human beings. We're selfish. We don't want anyone to die, and it's rough. I mean, do we just say all of a sudden you're 80 years old, you're done, we're not going to give you medical treatment, and you're on your own? You know, you're going to fend for yourself. That's inhumane.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is when your body gets to a point that it can't exist on its own,
Right.
then it's time to draw the line. Because let me tell you what I saw. This is what really taught me this. And I saw it periodically. And I saw at this one nursing home that I consulted with over the span of a year and a half, this one lady, she was about 78. She went into a coma. And she was in a coma for a year and a half. The stress on her family, her family ignored their living family. And 3 of her family members died during that year and a half. That lady died 2 years later. She was never coming out of that coma, and we knew it. Let her go and let you go back to your life, spending time with the family that's alive, your grandchildren, your children. But what happened was a nursing home makes a ton of money off of that. They're going to keep those damn people alive as long as they can, no matter what state they're in. So that's all I had to say on this. It's a whole mess we got to fix, and I hope.
Human nature.
The end of life questions is a whole nother discussion that we should probably have a discussion about. But yeah, people need to understand and have that discussion with their families about what's going to happen with them when they do run into those situations. And I actually have talked to somebody that's created an app for that to help create that discussion. And I'm gonna have to have more conversation with them. But Marvin, you got anything to pipe in there about that before we move on? Any bridges or any rebuttals?
I talk to people all the time about that. Okay. And I couldn't understand why we were vaccinating the people in the nursing homes instead of vaccinating the school teachers and keeping the schools open. It just blew my mind.
That's perfect, Marvin. I agree. You're exactly right. It sounds cruel, but you're right.
Yeah, I had to wait because even though I'm old, I wasn't in a nursing home. Right. And I got all kinds of problems. I got a pacemaker defibrillator. My defibrillator went off 22 times in 17 minutes. I just got cut open. I got all kinds of problems. But I'm still alive, thank God. And I used to be very overweight. And I got into FA. And I had to look at myself. And I had to look at my own problems instead of eating over them. And I had to start talking about them. And so if I hadn't lost that 130 pounds, I would be dead now. But I did. And what I did was I had to have an internal battle with myself, and I had to start to regurgitate all the stuff I was keeping down by using the food. Alcoholics do it with the alcohol. Drug addicts do it with drugs. Gamblers do it gambling. You have to, and all these overweight people, they're not looking at themselves and they're not facing their own problems, and they're blaming everybody else for their problems instead of dealing with their problems. What I tell my sponsees, I say the only person you need to worry about is that person looking back at you in the morning, that person wiping your butt when you get off the toilet, and that person paying your bills. If nobody else is doing that and you're doing it all by yourself, You don't care what anybody else thinks about you. You have to start learning what you think about yourself. And unfortunately, most people, they want everybody else to take care of them because they're afraid to look at themselves and start to work on their own problems.
That's so right, Mark. That's so perfect. That's exactly what the problem is. And what people do now, as I'm getting older, and I hate to sound like the old guy saying this, but they have created more distractions for these people now with these fucking video games and Xboxes, all of this shit. My cousin here constantly got the stereo on full. She's constantly on the fucking phone. I'm like, bitch, you got serious fucking psychological problems. Deal with your shit. You're a 55-year-old woman running around like you're 15. Okay, deal with your shit, because these people don't want to stop and go, hey, this is my problem. Let me look. I just wrote this to a friend. She put one of her crazy ass posts up. I go, until you change your thoughts and your behaviors, you will continue to do this shit till you die. So shut the fuck up and start changing your thoughts and your behavior. In fact, I'm writing a script where a guardian angel comes down and talks like that, where he just tells them, shut the fuck up. Right? Because that's what people need. They think counseling's a big hug. Actually, counseling is getting in your face and going, you're a fat fuck. Now go out there and lose weight. You're full of shit. You're a liar. That's what counseling really does. It's confrontational, or at least I do it.
That's what you do it. Yeah. But most of the people that are doing it say, pay me.
Yeah, exactly.
Pay me.
Yep.
That's not how, you go to a therapist and it should be, here's my issues and here's what I want to work on. I need these, bullets in my gun, and how long will it take you to give me these tools that I need? Not, I have to have endless therapy sessions all the time. And like you guys have been saying, for some of these, it's a cash cow. And, oh my God, I'm in therapy, really? I mean, like everyone's in therapy.
Because they don't want to face themselves.
Well, and it's a cool thing. It's like, I got a therapist, and they tell me I'm okay, or they tell me I'm screwed up, but I'll be okay. And, I'm trying to get to the other side. I met someone years ago in SoCal, and she goes, I'm in therapy. I go, okay, that's cool. And she kind of opened up about it, and she goes, I'm trying to get to the other side. I'm like, not quite sure I know what that means. And I go, how long have you been in therapy? And when she told me, I'm like thinking, oh my God. I mean, how many kids does this guy have that you're putting through college?
Right.
That is just, you need to stop. You need to go out in the world, man. You need to take your bumps.
In the physical realm of treating people with physical injuries, one of the things is someone to say, I got a good chiropractor. I've been seeing him 3 years. I'm like, if he was worth a fuck, you wouldn't be seeing him 3 years. Okay, because what he's doing is treating your symptoms. He's not figuring out what solves the problem. So you don't need, well, my hip keeps popping out. That's because your muscles are imbalanced. Let's get your flexibility equal and it won't pop out. And now you won't need the chiropractor. He doesn't want to do that because then he couldn't feed himself. So the book I wrote, I have to tell y'all, we classify them by % recovery. You only get 50% of the money. If you get 70%, you only get 70%, because there's a lot of people, when I've consulted with clinics and looked at their objective measurements, after 8 weeks of therapy, their abilities have gone down, not stayed the same. I'm like, how the fuck did you see them for 8 weeks and their motion is less, their strength is less?
Right.
And they do it because it's hot packed, ultrasound, iontophoresis. We did exercise and ice, and we didn't bill for ice. We billed only for exercise. Exercise is what solves your problems.
Ice definitely helps too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's we're gonna move into the next hot topic and then try to wrap it up within 15 minutes. All right, guys.
Okay. Great.
So the last part is all these different policy changes that Trump that Biden is changing, and I'm gonna try to recap a few here. So what I saw here, as far as like Earth Day is coming up, so let's talk about environmental stuff. You got air pollution and emissions. 28 out of 30 have been rolled back. What they are exactly, we have to get into that. Drilling and extraction, 12 of 19 have been rolled back. Infrastructure and planning, 14 of 14 have been corrected. Animals, whatever that is, 15 of 16 has been corrected. Water pollution, 8 of 9. Toxic substances and safety, 9 of 10. Others, 12 of 14. In all, 98 completed, 112 total, 14 are in progress. That's just in the healthcare. Environmental stuff. And then you got immigration reforms. The public charge on March 15th, the Department of Homeland Security published a final rule effective March 9th, removing the 2019 public charge final rule from the immigration regulations and restoring the pre-2019 public charge guidance, meaning that they can't get any help from the government of any kind, even Medi-Cal or whatever. They have to pay full price for everything, otherwise they're going to be possibly deported. Zero tolerance border bullshit. Again, at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security will help with reuniting families by expediting visas, etc., to connect families. The immigration pathway to citizenship pens out an 8-year plan. Let's see. The travel ban was lifted to 13 different Muslim countries. The 100-day deportation ban moratorium has been put in place for that. The federal judge blocked state of Texas on January 26th in regards to the to that whole deal, and probably a whole lot more. And but what that reminds me of is a joke that my bubby told me. My bubby told me a joke about a guy named Tony from Sicily. Do you remember this joke, Dad? Tony from Sicily. He's coming to the States and he's about to become a United States citizen. And he's in this courtroom and the judge says to Tony, Tony, I have 3 questions for you. If you answer all 3 questions correctly, you'll become a United States citizen. And Tony put his heels back, put his shoulders back, clicked his heels, said, yes, Your Honor. And then he said, the judge said, Tony, first question, who was the first president of the United States of America? Tony threw his shoulders back, clicked his heels, said, Your Honor, the first president of the United States of America was George Washington. His whole family yells from the courtroom, hey, Tony, he's so smart. And the judge like, calm down, everybody, calm down. And then, second question, Tony. Tony, how many stars and stripes are on the United States American flag? Goes the shoulders back, puts his heels tight. Your Honor, there's a 50 stars and 13 stripes on the United States American flag. Hey, you're right, Tony. Hey, the whole family. Hey, Tony, he's so smart. Third question. Family, quiet down. Third question. Tony, who killed Abraham Lincoln? Johnny dropped his shoulders, said, Your Honor, I don't know. His whole family yells, hey, Tony, he going to squeal.
We needed that joke for the foolish times.
That was a bubby joke. Okay, so do you guys have anything to say about any of these policies that are being rolled back?
I just want to say this one thing. You know, he hasn't even been in office 90 days, and already he's turning the United States around. I mean, Trump separated everybody. He put everybody against each other. But Biden, in less than 90 days, I think he's only been in office 70 days, he's already turned the damn country around. He wants to make it better. He wants to make America great again, not the other guy who wanted to do that. He tore it apart. I don't know what's going to happen in the next almost 3.7 years or whatever. But if things keep going like they're going, this country will be very good. It'll be great again it went backwards.
But I don't necessarily agree with that. I think this country is very divided, and
Divided.
I think here in Monterey County, where we live, there's 3 or 4 of us. We kind of live in a bubble, and but this country is very, very divided, and I don't think it has. Trump is to blame for that, and for Biden to come in with a lot of promises about being able to reach out to the other side of the aisle, and he wants to work with it. He really doesn't. And you look at his policies, the position Bernie Sanders is in, and you look at what's going on at the border, where again he puts the vice president in charge. She laughs about it. She came to Oakland the other day. She won't go down there. They're not even addressing it, and because they want these people here, because they're going to fast track them into citizenship. They're the voting bloc for the Democratic Party. I am not a Democrat, nor am I a Republican. But what I see is a lot of people that are just pissed off. We're all lied to. There was Lester Holt just got an award in media and journalism saying, we don't have to tell you the truth. He goes, and we don't have to tell you both sides of the story. And it's like, okay, well, the last bastion of truth is in journalism. That just went down the toilet. So we really don't have anything to rely on to really give us the truth. And do I trust Biden? Absolutely not. Did I trust everything Trump did? Absolutely not. But I don't trust Biden because I don't think he's cognitive. I don't think he's going to last 4 years. I think he's a puppet to his party. And I do believe that as we turn into more of a socialist state and more reliant on government, which is when you talk about insurance and health for everyone, I agree to some extent we need to do something to fix it, even though insurance companies were allowed to be as strong as they are. And it's not going to happen overnight. But we need to start listening to the kids. And for once, a generation should leave this country in better shape than the way we're going to go out, because we're all going to be dead. We're all going to be dead. And I think we should start finding ways of leaving this country better for our children and our children's children, and not just talk about it, but to actually do it. And we think we have the answer. Like Pelosi says, I know what the people want. No, you really don't, crazy lady. You don't. And, we're bought and sold by Washington. You and I, Marvin, we don't have a voice in Washington. We don't. So we have to regain that voice. We have to bridge the population with government. And we talk about Biden and things he's doing. He's doing some things that I would agree with, but he's doing some things that are really, really wrong. And I don't have an answer for everything he's doing, and I don't have a solution, but I have a bad feeling for what's about to come down this country. And again, for that, I'm glad I live in Monterey County in my bubble, because I don't want to be in a big city. I don't want to be in Alabama. I don't want to be in New York, Seattle. I don't want to be in Portland. I want to be here where I'm protected. And we see that now in San Francisco, in Oakland. We see that in New York. We see the hate, people attacking Asians. We see what's going on. This cop is going to fry in Minneapolis, and he should. But again, is the outcome going to be enough? Is it going to be enough? Because we always want more. We got to stop that. And we've got to start thinking about our kids and our kids' kids and listening to them, because we always think we know and we have the answer. The Democrats do not have the answer. The Republicans did not have all the right answers. And we can't become so reliant on government. We got to rely, like you said, reach out to your neighbor. We got to rely on each other. And that's where it has to be. And it doesn't happen with big government. And it doesn't happen with suppression. Things we're talking about now. The internet could say, we're not going to play this shit because of what you guys are talking about. And that's wrong. That is wrong. So again, I think we got to start listening to the kids, and we got to sacrifice a little more at our age, and we got to do what's right for them for generations to come. Because I know for me, I don't have the financial resources to say, I'm stinking rich and my kids and my family will be on Mars. They'll be here with all the poor people. in this world. So we got to start thinking a little differently overall, and not Democrat, Republican, not Biden, not Trump, because these were the leaders of the free world, but it goes way beyond them, way beyond them. And as a people, we really need to step up and start using our common sense. And we're not doing that. We're not.
We need more Mr. Smiths going to Washington.
Yeah.
And I've been telling people for a few years now that maybe before I die, the United States is going to be in the history books like the Roman Empire, because we're bankrupt. The average person can't comprehend this. $30 trillion in debt is more than the national average of income for the whole United States, I think. And somebody's got to pay off that debt. And the average person thinks the government is a separate organization. Bullshit. It's we, the people. And we, the people, got to pay off this debt.
So why are we allowing these guys to print more money and fatten up these stimulus policies that are all bullshit? Again,
I don't know. I don't know why we gave these people $600 a week to sit on their ass at home.
I agree with that.
When the minimum wage wasn't even $15 an hour, which is $600 a week. And these people that were on minimum wage, they were making more money sitting on their ass at home than they were working. So why would they want to go back to work? And now they just increased it. They just added $300. They took away the $600. Now they got $300. But if you're making $15 an hour, which is $600 a week, by the time they take their taxes out and et cetera, you may be only coming home with $300 a week. So why would you even want to work? Sit on your ass, get free food, get Section 8 housing, get free medical care. What the hell?
Yeah, that's they should sit on their ass. They should sit on their ass and take the money because they've been shit on. Because that's a statement against corporations that they pay people so little that unemployment can beat your fucking salary. That's how shitty it is. So if these people have been making $15 an hour for the last 5 years or 10 years and work their way up from $15 an hour, then that $600 will be a cut in pay. But because we've got slave wages for fucking people making $7.25 or $8 or $9, and now they make a little extra for a few months, great for them. Great for them. I was at Kentucky Fried Chicken yesterday. They had a sign up. We can't hire people because they make more money. Well, fuck you. Raise your goddamn hourly wages to $20 an hour and they'll be busting this door down. But you want to pay them $8 an hour and they can, like you're saying, or they can make $15 an hour unemployment. Take that unemployment till you drop dead. Don't dare take a damn job. You'd be a fool to go over there and take a job. You're owed that shit. You've been owed that shit for a long time. So that we have always been divided. What Trump made it okay to do was say shit you shouldn't say out loud. We were born divided as a country. We were born divided. We were literally segregated. Fucking society was literally segregated. So when people tell me we're divided now, we're not divided now nearly as bad as we used to be divided.
That's right.
But what has happened is Trump made it okay to beat up Asian fucking people. Trump made it okay to say the N-word out loud. He made it okay for your stupid ass to walk around with the fucking Confederate flag. He made it okay to say shit that you should get the shit be. I will whip your ass if you say that shit to me. Today, I actually faced off with a guy at Walmart because he was approaching an Asian guy and I could tell he was going to say something. And I just turned and said, redneck, if you open your mouth, I'll wipe the fucking floors with you. And he turned around and walked away because I could tell he was about to say some shit. And I want to wipe the floor with his ass. Okay? These fucking hillbillies, they think they can say and do what they want to fucking say. And the problem is now they're smart enough not to say this shit. The shit down in Georgia is straight up, they're N-words, they're animals, they're inferior. We don't want them to vote. That's what this shit is about. But they're smart enough not to say that anymore. So they hide behind the law. The fact is, if people can't fucking afford IDs, get everybody a free ID. How the fuck do we not do that? It's only 8% of the population doesn't have an ID. You mean our government can't get everybody a fucking ID? Of course they can't. Of course they can't. And they could have done that a long time. They got them fucking unemployment. They got them food stamps. We can't
Right.
get their ass a fucking ID. We can. We don't want to because it keeps black people and brown people from voting. I'm getting excited about this, but here's the last thing, and this is what this started on, Jay, was at some point we got to say, okay, government is the only answer. Let me make sure I say that. The private sector is not going to fix shit. The private sector will make profits till every fucking American drops dead in their house. They don't give a shit about the individual. They will move their ass to China and India and Russia and sell their goods there, and there'll be a bunch of fucking bodies stacked up in America. They don't care. So government is the only answer to this problem. And the government's got to say fossil fuels are done. Fuck fossil fuels. And if Exxon doesn't like that, whoever doesn't like that, take your little fucking boats and go over where the hell you need to go. But you're not going to drill anymore here. We're not going to pump up oil. We're going to go to sun power, solar power, and wind power. That's what we're going to do. And if you don't like that, fuck you. Move from America. Because at one point, we didn't have electricity. And guess who said, now we're going to have fucking electricity everywhere? The government. At some point, we said, we went from kerosene lanterns to electricity. We went from the telegraph to the phone. We went from blacksmith to vehicles. We went, okay, at some point, the government did the infrastructure and made the railroad system. Government is always the answer. It is always the answer. It is the only one that can do this shit. So if you're waiting for Exxon to create solar power, you'll drop dead. It's not going to fucking happen. So the government has to step in and go, Exxon, we're done. We're done.
Do it because they're in bed together. They're all dirty. They can't do
Yes.
it. We allow that. We allow
right.
that.
That's right.
you and I-
Anthony, you were talking about the way the United States was 100 years ago. Today, unfortunately, they have lobbyists.
Yes.
So as soon as a good guy goes to Washington, Mr. Smith, who wants to be an independent guy, goes to Washington, all of a sudden there's a lobbyist there with cash paying him off. And all of a sudden his whole thinking switches. If we passed a law and got rid of lobbyists, Exxon wouldn't be there paying 100 people to do their dirty, you know.
And you know what's so sad, Marvin, is those lobbyists are giving these politicians $10,000 and they're trading their soul for fucking $10,000. For $10,000 contribute for $20,000 contributions, they're taking millions out of people's hands, out of their food, out of their mouth for fucking. I could take the lie. If I end up with a terminal disease, I'm going to strap down and go to Congress and blow the whole fucking thing up and kill everybody. This is fucking ridiculous that
Right.
we trade our whole society for. Of course, I'm not. I would love to do that. In my script, I'm going to do that. Okay. But it's ridiculous. We're trading this shit for nothing. That's what's crazy. For nothing, for chump change, we're selling out America. People are starving in this country, and we throw away more food than we eat. That's crazy. So I don't know how we fix it. I hope Biden's doing some things. He did the immunization thing. He's done great with that. He did more than he projected. So that's great. He's about to come up with some gun laws, and all hell's going to break loose. When he starts saying, I'm going to do this through executive action with the guns, all hell is going to break loose. So I'm looking forward to what he says, because the guns are going to start to sell again. As always.
The other thing is we have to stop taking care of every country in the world. Yeah. We're sending these countries billions of dollars. We need to just cut that out and pay off our own debt. Yep. And let those countries worry about themselves. Yep. If we have to worry about ourselves.
China just signed like this $60 billion agreement with Iran, and we have sanction on them. So now all of a sudden they're flush with money. So we don't matter as much. And China with their technology and this 5G and 6G, 7G, they want to wire the world in these countries and beat us as far as with technology. That's the new war.
Yes.
It's like infecting us all. Technology is a new war. And China is out to do that and push their technology in these countries, and they're beating us to that. They're beating us to it. So this whole thing, banking is international, everything's international. And we cut our borders off, and there was a time to do that. We missed that window, and we can't do it anymore. We can't. But again, we're getting our ass kicked on the world stage. And like I said, I'm curious to see how the next couple of years play out. I'm not looking forward to the things that are going to happen that I don't think are going to be good. I think we should celebrate the good every day, because I don't think it's going to be pretty.
And quit sexually harassing your neighbors.
Yeah. Thanks to a TRO, you know.
Hey, Jay, before we go off, I wanted to suggest something. There's a great show on television about, it's a series I've been following, and it sounds silly, but it's great. It's about the people that created the foods. Like Nestle created chocolate.
Yeah.
I just watched Campbell's Soup last night. Amazing when you look at that, because you just assume soup in a can always existed. No, someone invented that. Right. Someone invented the potato chip. The Oreo dominated cookies when it came out. It was called Hydrox, and then Oreo stole the, okay. Yeah. Unbelievable about these titans of industry, how they, I didn't know White Castle invented the hamburger. It was a meatball and they didn't cook fast enough and they flattened it, and he created the hamburger and the bun. That's crazy. And then it's a great series. It's an hour, and they always have two different titans, and they're fighting it out against each other. The guy that invented the Reese's Cup was fired by Hershey, and he invented the Reese's Cup and crushed Hershey. It was great. I get so excited about stuff like that. It was a great show to watch. It's on the Food Network, I think.
That's exciting. That's exciting stuff. Well, you know, like what Marvin said, you know, Trump did come in there and he used his voice and help divide our country, you know, the way that kind of like Moses did. And and I hopefully over the next period of a few years, we can kind of reunite together and unite again. We're on our road to implode, to explode or implode, like what was suggested by the Roman Empire. And we saw what happened on January 6th. And I thought, oh my God, it's happening. And yeah, you're right, Dad. I thought that we were going to be in the history books in a few years. I mean, China might buy us out. Who knows what might happen, what the story might be in the next few years. But kind of like what Stevie P said, you know, leave it up, give it to the children. And it reminded me of, you know, a little bit of Michael Jackson with The Man in the Mirror, and also with, you know, we are the world, we are the children, we are the ones to make a better place for you and me. And we need to get back to that place. And at some point back 20, 30 years ago when that song came out, we were the children. A lot of us on this call, we were the children. And now we're adults, you know, nearly adults. So anyway, I just want to say thank you guys. I know we didn't talk about coronavirus today. It still exists. Please wear your masks. I got my shot scheduled for this Saturday. I'm pretty excited about that. As far as the trial for George Floyd, that's continuing on with the new gun laws coming out tomorrow, whatever. We should discuss that next week, a little bit more about what's happening with the George Floyd case. I don't know if there's going to be results by then or not, but we can definitely pick that up next week. Any other topics or hot things on your minds, gentlemen?
No, but you were just bringing out that's what I want our World Peace Park to accomplish, to overcome all this prejudice in the world and to get people to know themselves and each other. And I need some help. So when the meeting is over, I want to ask Stevie a question.
Very good. Well, thank you, everybody. Please join us next week. Anthony, Stevie P, Marvin, thank you. Joshua, Jedi Josh, thank you for being here. We'll do more show and tell next week. Let's see what else. Our website, thegreatinternetdebate.com. Please go there, find us, subscribe to our channels. You can find our links at the bottom of our website. And if you like what you see here today, there's a Patreon page on our website. Please click on that, and you can donate money or be a participant to the show. Gentlemen, Thank you very much.
Hey, I've been dating a deaf girl lately. And when we have sex, she likes me to talk dirty. So I don't wash my hands.